do we break this vicious cycle?
I think that is the 1 million or $1 billion question right there. And I will say, I think Intersections is a really great start. You know, first of all, it's having these incredible scholars of color and putting them on stage and saying, here we are. Here are these incredible people. We exist. I also think that within these institutions, you know, we were talking about culture within the institution before. I've been noting, at least in certain places, we have this, what I call the changing of the guard. And we have the change where these people with different mentality are coming in from all different backgrounds, which I think is the most important thing. So I do see the transition that's happening within institutions. And we really have these incredible leaders in this diversity sphere who are also great scientists, who are also great doctors, and who are here to change that mentality and, you know, who are becoming more emboldened to stand up when someone says something. You know, it's something as simple as having a little bystander intervention. When you hear someone say something that's a little bit just off, right? Something about how that person couldn't possibly be good enough, or they only got it because of X. You know, it's standing up and it's correcting these people. And that's how we start to change the culture within these institutions. And I have to say, and of course, sea change is making those waves that we then need to be made to change this and change how we exist right now and really break this vicious cycle.
We are trying. Yeah, I'm really honored to meet you for a lot of reasons. As I said, I think I could probably only have done sea change at this point in my life, at the end of a career, because it calls for so much disruption that I would probably not be welcomed in a lot of places. So I am thrilled to see that we have the marching generations behind us who are willing to take on these issues and confront the systems that have been in place for too long, that have kept us from having excellence in science, in research, in innovation, because their definitions of excellence are so narrow. So where next for Eileen? Where do you want to be? We'll try to get you there.
So that's really what I need to figure out now. It's interesting because I've always said absolutely no to academia. And then I joined Yale and I co-founded this Black Postdoc Association. And I'm doing all these other sort of extracurricular things in addition to this incredible science. And I've really put myself out there. I've put so many grant applications in. One of the ones that I'm the most proud of is I received the loan repayment grant from NIH. So I will say I feel that the universe is slowly pushing me towards academia. And like I said, I'm very unapologetically myself, and I'm not afraid to speak up about what the problem is and what needs to be changed. So maybe this is the space that I do need to be in, but I need to figure out what that looks like for me. And actually, I'm really thankful for this postdoc because it really did make me love research again. Seeing my boss and how he works and his passion, and he really cares about patients, and he's very patient forward with everything he does. And he reminds us weekly, you know, every time we see him, he reminds us we're here for the patients. And being in this environment has really just made me love science again. And it makes me not want to leave it, which is really beautiful, I think. So I really do want to start having these conversations and start speaking to more people, because the truth is, when you join graduate school, you're kind of told that academia is the only thing you can do. And then looking at academia the way it is, that's not really where I want to be, right? But now I'm seeing how I can work to change academia, and maybe that is the place that I want to be. But not only that, like with this education, you know, not only are we learning the science, but we're getting all these beautiful transferable skills and all these life experiences. And the truth is that, to me, the world is my oyster right now, and I can do anything. So I just need to figure out what that next step is.
Well, I think that you're getting a lot of experiences here that allow you to know that it is an affirmative choice for research. This is not something that you're falling into because that is where people trained you. You basically know now that there's lots of other things you can do out there, and you choose to do this thing. You choose to contribute here because that is where you can make a difference and bring yourself, not just your skills, but your lived experience and your understanding of these disparities kinds of concerns that really are are just so critical at this particular point in time. But that's, I ask you again, you know, if what kind of institution do you think that you would want to be in?
That is an excellent question and something I've really been thinking about. Um, and one of the big things is that it can't be an institution that's saying it's going to make changes without actually making changes. You know, I'm here to put the work in, but if I'm putting in the work and other people are putting in the work, I need to see that there's actual strives being made to make science more equitable. We need to be instilling those changes. You need to be taking advice from these diversity leaders, and really actively trying to change the culture. I don't want to be anywhere where I'm not actually valued, where I'm just a number, where I'm just a token, because that's not me. And that's not what I'm meant for. And that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to make changes, not only to my field, but also to just the way my field looks. You know, I always say that academia is not broken because the truth is it's functioning exactly how it was built, right? It's working for the people it was built for. But what we need to do is we need to just blow it up and start again. So start from the beginning. It needs to be changed because if not, like we're kind of just working against everything, right? Against everything that's already been built. And these foundations are deep. They run really, really deep.
It's not working the way it needs to, right? Oh, you should know. You should know, though, there are um, within the biomedicine part of Sea Change institutions that have declared the same thing, that they are not working the way they need to work. So there, it's not like there's no options out there. There are places that are starting to step up and say, hey, wait a minute, this is not the way that things ought to be. And they are trying to figure out how to get into a different space. So you that kind of experience and that kind of thinking, there are places increasingly that will value that you bring that along with this kind of research. So this is like my hopeful statement to you. So what do you think for the generation after you?
I mean, for me, it feels like we really are in the trenches right now, and we're trying to rebuild. And it's really great to have these colleagues who, you know, not only do they feel the same way I do, they have the same mentality, and we're here to change what academia looks like now, so that it's easier for the next generation. And that really is what my dream is. Is I when I was growing up, I never saw a scientist who looked like me. I never saw a Black scientist, a Black female scientist, a Latina, let alone an Afro Latina. So I really want kids in the future, I don't want them to ever have to think about the stuff that I've had to think about or ever experience the things that I've had to experience. One day, I hope that someone who looks like me is never told that they're only there because of what they look like. And I never want them to hear that they've taken a spot away from someone else or whatever awful things have been said to me. And that's why I'm doing the work. And continuing to do the work with all of my colleagues. And the truth is that we are lucky enough that we're standing on your shoulders and the shoulders of your generation and all the work that you've done. And we're going to continue this fight. And we're in this space and we're doing this work. And I really believe it needs to change. And the reason that we're doing it, it isn't for us. It isn't for me. We're doing it for the next generation and then for the next generation after that. And hopefully I'll see it in my lifetime.
Well, I'm a lot closer to the end than you are. And the legacy that I search for is having the people who are younger than me say exactly what you just said. This is a continuum. This is not a sprint. This is definitely a marathon. And that means that we've got to basically be able to, or a relay, more appropriately, a relay. And so we've got to pass the baton and not drop the baton and pass the baton to the next generation. So what do you have as a kind of a parting word? Well, I want to ask you two questions, okay? Two parting words. Parting word to the people who are around you who don't necessarily see the challenges that you see of your generation, okay? And the last parting word is the people who would be mentors who could make a difference if they would but choose to.
Okay, so for the people who are around me who don't necessarily see what I see, the truth is I think it's time. It's not, I know it's time for you to open your eyes a little bit more. I think that if you actually look for it, you're going to see it. I think it's easy to stay in your own little bubble and say like, it's not that bad for you or whatever it is. I said earlier, diversity of thought is where science thrives. And if you want your science to thrive, if you want to think solely about yourself a little bit, to get your science to thrive, you really need to have these collaborations with diverse people. And, it's diversity of thought, it's diversity of race, it's everything. There's always going to be someone who knows a little bit more about something than you do. And those are the type of people you want to work with, right? If you want to just think about it from your scientific perspective. And maybe, that's where you start. But the truth is like the system needs to change as well. Because just because it's not necessarily affecting you, it doesn't mean it's not real. And I think that's one of the things that's really hard for people to grasp. I've learned that the hard way along the way. If it's not affecting someone, they don't necessarily believe it. And the truth is like, I'm just going to keep repeating myself until they listen and until they believe me that this is what we're going through, and as it happens, like showing it in real time, because we're not going to be able to move forward unless we all get on board for these changes. And for those people who are going to be those mentors alongside me, we have to continue to train ourselves to be better mentors. We really need to have conversations with other people, people from other backgrounds, and you need to know your own limitations, So if you have a mentee who's from a certain background that you're not from, it really is okay to reach out to colleagues and ask for input. And I think importantly, you need to meet your mentees where they are. You don't need to mold your mentees to all be the same either, right? Because again, we need diversity of thought and we need diversity of scientists so that we can prosper and we can really push science forward. So I really think it's important to build your networks and connect your mentees to these networks. It's really reaching out and showing your mentee that you'll go to bat for them. I think that's really important because I've seen that where that's not happening and it really, really hurts. I think just standing up for them and training yourselves to be better. And the truth is that there's systems that exist right now. There's training programs that exist that you can actively be a part of to become a better mentor. And this will ultimately make you a better scientist. It'll make you a better person. And for that, those are my parting words to you.
Those are wonderful parting words. And I thank you. I thank you for sharing your story. I thank you for being the person you are, your best self, trying to do your work, but also understanding that there is a system out there that really needs to be changed so that the people who come behind you can contribute and can be their best selves. And so I thank you.
And I thank you for paving the way for us. I mean, it's an absolute honor to be quote sitting in the room with you right now. And I know we're not physically there, but we are in the room together, right? And we are on this journey together, and we're in the trenches together. And it's such an honor. You're such a powerhouse and such an idol of mine. So really, this is just incredible. And I really do thank you.